better, a lot better this week than the last 2 weeks. 66-21, Texas Tech crushed UNT, and it's what we expected, right? Going into the season, I do a recruiting breakdown of both teams, who's on the roster, who's expected to play, the last 5 classes for each teams and or each team, and clearly Texas Tech on paper was a more talented team, and we saw that play out on the field Saturday at the Jones. And man, I am just so relieved for Texas Tech fans that happened, that they got to experience that, because the first 2 weeks were so unfulfilling, and then to have just a game just be out of hand in Texas Tech's favor early. I mean, they put up a 50 burger by half. So I want to go over some stats. Lucas the Goat said hi. Hey, Lucas the Goat. So we'll get to comments and questions and all that coming up. But like I said, 66-21, Texas Tech outscored North Texas 35-0 in the second quarter. That's really impressive. Man, how great was it to have Taj Brooks back? He went over 100 yards, 109 yards, and a touchdown. He averaged 6.5 yards almost per carry. But his performance meant even more than that. I mean, you didn't have to give it to him 20 some odd times because he didn't play in the second half, but he set the tone early and made things a lot easier for Baron Morton, who finished 15 for 19, only played in the first half, for 273 yards and 4 touchdown passes. He also ran for a touchdown, a 10-yard touchdown as well. So those two guys really showed up and showed out. But so did really everybody on offense. I mean, Jalen Conyers caught a touchdown. John Carlos Miller caught a touchdown. Hey, there's two tight ends. They combined for 6 catches for 91 yards and 2 scores. That's pretty good. Your young running backs, I think youth was really surged for the first time this season, where you saw, where the talent is. And then on offense, of course, Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams got to play 4 carries, 27 yards, and a touchdown. Cameron Valdez being out, and he might be out for a while now, but that gives Jacoby Williams an opportunity, and I think Tech fans are really going to like him. Those 2 freshman running backs were really good. Of course, you got Taj, your ultimate ace in the hole, though. Coy Aiken had 1 catch for 70 yards, but hey, we'll take that 70-yard touchdown grab. So I didn't think Cameron Brown played all that great necessarily. He showed his running ability, but Will Hammond, the true freshman, former 4-star Elite 11 finalist quarterback, really stepped up and played well. But on defense, they played so much better. One stat that really stands out is that UNT at one point, where they were 0 for 7 on third down, they finished 4 for 14. I think a lot of those conversions on third down were in garbage time, but Texas Tech defense turned North Texas over 3 times with 3 interceptions, but also got off the field on third down. So, I actually asked McGuire about that in the post-game press conference, and he said, he goes and talks to some of his leaders on defense the night before, and just to make sure they're okay with the game plan. He said all of them were really confident in the game plan, and that allowed them to play fast. They were physical. And with high energy, which I think had been sorely lacking in the first 2 weeks. But man, we saw it, earlier today against North Texas. That was a lot of fun. So we'll see if there's any comments here. We don't have as many as fun. It's funny. Maybe it's just because it's the middle of the day on Saturday as opposed to later on. But we don't have as many comments as we have with the losses. But Tech and Tortilla says all the way back. Yeah, that was great. Haley says happy to celebrate. The game was fun. Haley, it was fun. And I tell you what, it was so much fun. After the ACU game, I had a drink. I had a whiskey because I was so freaked out. I was so depressed. But today I'm gonna have a whiskey. I know it's kind of early, but it is Saturday, and it's been a long day for me. Great day. But in celebration, I'm going to cheers everybody, toast to Raiderland out there, because, boy, I feel like we all really needed this kind of game, this kind of outcome, and so cheers to everybody out there in Raiderland. Jay wants to know what I think of Will. Well, I think and Mike Bauer says it's nice to have a positive chat. Indeed, Mike. Man, he's got a great channel. Check out his barbecue channel, by the way. Where I'm not affiliated, I'm not getting any money for that. I'm just saying he has a great channel. Barbecue. If you're a foodie and you like Texas barbecue, Mike's your guy. Mike Bowers. Jay, what did you think of Will? Yeah, I think he could run for governor of West Texas, anyways. Right now, he looked like he looked in fall camp and some in spring. I didn't see him as much in spring, other than the spring game. But I think he's going to be a heck of a football player. If you talk to people who are there on a daily basis, get to go to all the practices, people that are part of the program, they'll tell you he had one of the better true freshman quarterback camps you'll ever see, or off seasons. He's looked like that since he's gotten to campus. I think, like I said, a highly rated recruit, coveted. A lot of people tried to steal him after he had been committed to Tech for a while, tried to flip him, and Will stay true to Texas Tech. I mean, when Tech offered him, he was not a 4-star recruit. He didn't even have a recruiting profile. Like, I had to set up his profile on 24/7. But he's better than, even after all the hype, Will has been better since he's been on campus than even the coaches and a lot of the people were expecting. So bright future. I still like Baron Morton. He had a great game, almost a perfect game against North Texas. He had a really good game against ACU as well. But I really love the future of Will Hammond. And I'm so happy that Tech fans are getting to see, or got to see, the younger guys play. And really what we talk about with these recruiting classes and the fact that these young guys are so talented and all that, you got to see it with your own eyes, which is really important. I think Will's got great composure. He could run a little bit to get out of trouble. Great arm, clearly. He knows where to throw it. A couple of times, and this is very rare for guys right out of high school, but he threw a couple of guys open in that late in the third quarter and early in the fourth. I mean, they started running the ball just to get the game over with. But what Will showed was, there was one time that pass to Micah where he almost scored. It just happened to be, the angle was perfect right in front of me. I saw Will do a certain movement. I'm sure it'll be on tape for other teams to see, but he called something at the line. He told Micah, hey, I'm going to you. And Micah saw it and did it and completed. It was almost a touchdown, shoestring tackle. And then Jacoby Williams got in the end zone. But, he looks like he's in his element. Will Hammond does. He looked like that in practice. That's the first thing that stood out. Was like, this dude doesn't look like a true freshman. He looks like he's right where he belongs, right in his element, very comfortable in his skin. And, the future is just really bright for a lot of these young guys. There's some guys on defense as well who are younger, like Michael Dingle. He really flashed to me. He's just a step faster than most linebackers. People are asking, where's that track speed? Where's that track speed? Well, I saw Michael Dingle. I like it that Marcus Ramon Edwards got in there, a 6'3", 225-pound safety. I mean, he looked what's his name? John, I can't believe I'm forgetting him. I always forget his last name. The middle linebacker, the redshirt freshman middle linebacker, John Curry. Yeah, I don't know why I always forget his last name, but he looks great. I think he's going to be a hell of a football player. I mean, I really do. I think he might end up being better than Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts down the line. He just has some instincts you can't teach. Yeah, I don't know how fast he is, but he clearly diagnoses plays and gets there in a hurry. So I really like John Curry. So there's some young guys stepping up. I'm really excited about, and we needed to see it. We saw it, and I'm very thankful for it. All right, Lucas Tagosa, who do you think had the best game today? Great question. And I'm glad that I have a lot of options. I think Barron had a great game. He played almost perfectly. He really did. Even some of the incompletions were ones where pass protection broke down and he got out of the pocket and got rid of the ball. So you know what? I'm going to tip a cap to the offensive line. I'm not saying they had the best day necessarily, but it's been something I've talked about, the problem that is the Texas Tech's offensive line for so long. And I thought they played really well against North Texas. I mean, it wasn't a perfect performance or anything like that, but they got its best movement that the offensive line has gotten so far this year in the run game early. And that really got the tone going and got Taj going, and that got the whole offense, the whole team going. That really is the key, it appears. And then they did do a good enough job in pass protection. I mean, they had 50 points, and some of that was because the defense was turning over in North Texas, but still they punched it in. They had a 50 burger. They were up 52-7 at halftime. I mean, The offense rolled up almost 600 yards of offense, 350 through the air, 244 on the ground. I mean, that's it right there. That's what we want to see, right? And I think the offensive line was a big part of it. You had Vinny Scurry out. He's going to be out for the season at left guard. Your entire starting left side of the offensive line was out, with Sterling Porcher still out. And I thought Dalton Merriman was really good at left tackle. And I thought, I thought Davion Carter at right guard was really good as well. Some of those guys pulling on some of their action. And I thought the tight ends did a really good job helping out in run blocking too. So I'm going to give the offensive line its due after, I think rightfully so, questioning a lot in the past. Mike said, thanks, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for being on Inside the Red Raiders and on this channel. Kim Coulter said, long day for you. Hell, we were up at 5 a.m. grilling the weenies for our weenie wraps. Okay, well, that was a choice. I guess I could have chosen not to go to the radio show. And I'm not complaining. It's a great day. You can tell I'm smile on my face. I'm happy. We had our radio show from 8 to 10. So we did that. And then the game, post-game presser. Mighty Joe and I recorded our day after podcast, the day of. And then now we're here doing this. He's writing his Jaeger shots for Inside the Red Raiders, and I'm doing this. I might do a post-game wrap as well, just a standard video. Just a quick 5-10 minute video kind of recapping stuff. But, we'll probably pretty much go over everything on this. Hope you enjoyed your weenies. Jay said he's very accurate. He is very accurate. You're talking about Will Hammond. Like I said, the ability to throw some of your receivers open is a trait that you just don't see it in young guys a lot. And I thought that was very impressive. And I think again, his future is really bright. Tech and Tortilla says, Will and Mike put the future Big 12 on notice. That might be a little bit of a exaggeration, but I know they put Raider Nation on notice that look for us in the future. I think we're not going to be talking about, Mike is going to hit the portal and all this stuff, that quashes that storyline for at least a week. So that was good to see. Kim Coulter said, I too was thrilled to see Hammond play. Yeah, everybody was excited to see Hammond play. You mentioned who is number 40. I'll Google the roster. I think it's Will. I think it's a walk-on linebacker. He plays with a lot of intensity in practice and stuff. I really like this guy. But I'll look it up for you. Just give me a second. I should have a roster pretty close by, but let's see. Oh, here you go. A little hard copy roster. Let's see. Need my readers. Wesley Smith. There you go. Not Will, but Wesley Smith. He's a very physical, intense player in practice. One the type of dude you need. Set the tone in practice. I really like him. Laura Weiss says, great game today. Brooks makes such a huge difference. He really does. It makes sense. I feel like the most popular dude on your campus should be your running back. He should be really good, and he should be him or the quarterback, right? And I think Taj is probably right up there with one of the most popular guys on campus at Texas Tech. Big 12, all Big 12 performer. He's going to go for the career rushing title here at Texas Tech. Borderline. He deserves to be All-American. Whether Texas Tech gets him there or not is another thing. But there's no doubt in my mind he's one of the best running backs in the country. Taj Brooks is great. And he looked, Mighty Joe's mentioned a couple of times, he looks really fresh. And I think, it's just starting the season compared to last year. But maybe he's a little lighter on his feet too. But, man, if you could have a guy like Taj Brooks on your team at any position every year, you'd be doing all right. But he is – again, I think the best way to say it, he is Texas Tech's ace in the hole. That's really who Taj is. Tech and Tortilla says, I'm glad we weren't dependent on screens. Each running back averaged 6 yards a carry. Yeah. That's tough to watch. And I get the coaching point, the philosophical, if they're going to give us the numbers, we're going to go for it. But I sure do like them, running the ball with physicality and then hitting all the RPO action they did today for big plays. That just looked a lot better than and obviously reflected on the scoreboard, but I think screens should be something you can go to kind of keep defenses honest horizontally, but not the staple, the main thing of your offense. And they're going to say it's the way North Texas played them, and that's fine. But I hope everybody plays Texas Tech the way North Texas did. We know Iowa State probably will, a similar scheme. But because if that is what has Texas Tech become more aggressive in terms of running the ball, but also again hitting the RPO and the play action over the top behind it after that, then great. I think Tech will be very successful. I know they went the first quarter they didn't run a screen, and then at least 7 minutes in the second quarter, by that time there hadn't been a screen, and then they did throw one in the first half at least. But I think they set the tone with at least 3 straight runs with Taj. May have been even more than that, and that was great to see. Jay said, "Did you see Florida State lost again?" Yeah, I heard. I mean, apparently they just suck this year. After all the talk. Braylon 02 says both of the younger backs continue to look good. Yeah, they do. Like I said, I think a lot of people have heard a lot about Cam Dickey. It was good to see him. He had that fall camp, I think it was an ankle injury or foot injury, something like that, that set him back in fall camp. But he kind of got the beginning of the season off to a slow start for him. But he looks full go. He looked great. And Jacoby Williams, I think, could be special. And it's somebody that Mike and Joe are fighting about because Joe was starting to say, "Oh, he's my guy." And man, I wrote about him in some notebooks, camp notebooks, like a month ago. He's my guy. And we're fighting over we love him. We think he's going to be a real player for Texas Tech. So that's very exciting. Lucas, the GOAT, says, "What NFL team do you see Taj Brooks going to?" Yeah, I don't know. I know he got like a fifth to seventh round grade. And that's coming from Taj after last year. If he could continue, show the improved quickness and light feet, maybe he could be more because, I think a lot of people out there know that running back is the position's kind of been devalued in the NFL. Everything going to more passing. But I think he's I hope the Cowboys draft him. They could use some more talent, young talent at running back, to be honest. But I could see spending a 3rd or 4th round pick on him. I really do, because he does everything. Early on, if you need him in special teams, I know they like necessarily more high-end speed, but he's a rugged and tough enough player to do that. Obviously, he's a good runner between the tackles. He's shown some quicker feet. He's a good receiver, an excellent player in pass pro. So he could be like a Samaj Pirine type 3rd down back, if nothing else, if not an every down back. But there's definitely value for Taj Brooks at the next level. I hope. I'm a womb to the tomb Cowboys fan, multi-generation Dallas guy. I'm never going to not be a Cowboys fan no matter what Jerry Jones does. This is a topic for another time, though. Don't give me a bunch of Cowboy stuff in this. This is Tech. But as a lifelong Cowboys fan, I hope they draft Taj Brooks, because you're not going to get a better dude and just a hell of a football player. Laura White says, "Brooks running allows play action, paid off today." Absolutely. It opens up so much for their offense. And I thought McGuire said it best. He said, "Look, if teams are going to play a lot of too high, they're going to play a lot of coverage in order to stop Tech's passing attack, then he said, we're going to hammer them with Taj Brooks." And that was music to my ears. That's what I want to hear. That's what I wanted all last year. And that's great news. And with some of the new receivers, obviously, Micah, but Josh Kelly, Caleb Douglas, we had a couple of drops. That was one of the only negatives on offense early. Coy Aiken's been great. He's proven to be a big play threat. These tight ends, Jalen Conyers, John Carlos Miller has been as good as what we've been telling y'all about since last spring. He's a real threat. He had that dunk, which was, I hate that was a penalty, but that after he scored on a long touchdown, he dunked the ball through the crossbar. That was cool. But they have weapons to exploit. If they try and load up and stop Taj, then you can hit him over the top with play action, like you said, Laura. So that's good. But I think you got to make them stop Taj or come up, roll their coverage up first. Feed the beast. Feed Taj. It should be Taj time all the time. Tech and Tortilla says the Big 12 opener being at home is great. Can the offense have a similar performance? And that's what we talked about in the day after podcast, Joe and I. And he led off with the first question of the post-game presser, and he asked Coach McGuire, like, do you expect this to carry over next week? And I think McGuire did a good job of, like, obviously not against North Texas like he did against Texas, going to be like everything runs through Lubbock or something crazy like that. He said, look, we got to limit the penalties, limit the turnovers, and play, physically on defense. He played, he said that kind of stuff. Like, let's not get too out of control, because now this team has to deal with a little bit of success. And they had a good game. Every facet or phase of the team played well. So how do they handle that going in the Big 12 opener? Are they satisfied? Or they realize, like, they just took care of business, they did what they were supposed to, and now the Big 12 play starts with a 3-0 Arizona State team coming to town. So, yeah, you got Arizona State and Cincinnati at home to open up Big 12 play. So it's a hell of an opportunity. And, like, again, going back to what Mighty Joe and I were talking about, we're interested in what's going to happen. Like, y'all are interested. We're interested in what's going to happen next week now. If nothing else, that's what Texas Tech did. Going into this game, let's be honest, we all were kind of like, oh, like, I don't want to see them struggle again. It's torture. So now this performance shows all of us what they're capable of. And now you open up Big 12 play, and we're excited. So at least we have that. Can it and will it translate next week when the cut level competition goes up? We're all going to find out together. I believe it will. I believe the talent is there for Tech to have a good performance and win at home against a team like Arizona State. Now, will they? We'll see. All right. Orphic said, Valdez hurt or just passed? He's hurt. Again, I think there's a good chance he might be out for a little bit. I hope not. I believe it's a knee injury, if I saw on the report right. But, yeah, it was definitely an injury. Colby Prito says, as good as Taj is on the ground, he might actually be the best pass blocking running back in the nation. Yeah, I think that will be a big part in his draft grade as the league trends to so pass heavy. Yeah, a lot of times, those drafts, they go on potential, and they're like, we'll really get a faster guy who we could teach the pass block. But, I think a smart GM will see the value in Taj Brooks and some of the things like you just pointed out, Colby. Kim Coulter says, JJ, I'm flying for every game, but you don't know I put 2 boys through Arizona State. We must win next week or I can't go home. Ooh, no kidding. That's like, for me last year, my girlfriend actually was from Laramie. She went to Wyoming. That's where she went to school. And she was having to hear me talk smack about how Tech, in all these videos that I do, that Tech was going to just destroy Wyoming and all this stuff. And so that was really rough when Tech lost that game, that opener, for me, just personally in my household. Because my girlfriend, she let me down easy because she knows what it means with the job and all that. But she did say, like, y'all shouldn't have talked all that smack. And you know what? She was right. So I know your pain, man. Sammy Hammond says, happy to see Tech finally win big. I hope this continues. Yeah, that's it. Keep it going, man. Don't be satisfied with just handling your business against North Texas. We needed to see that, and that's great. But now keep it going. Jason Baumgartner says, great to listen after a big win. Feels like this is the first complete game of the McGuire era. Oh, no, I don't agree with that. The way they want to play defense, offense, complementary football. No, the win over Ole Miss, the win over Cal, those were complete wins, those bowl game wins. Trying to think about any other domination game. They beat the crap out of Baylor last year in Waco. I think that was the most complete performance of the McGuire era, in my opinion, because it was also on the road, which has been a big bugaboo for for lack of a better word. It's been a big storyline, is the lack of success on the road. And then, of course, Baylor was one of the toughest losses. I think it was Mahomes night in 22, McGuire's first year. So to go, and obviously him and a lot of the staff coming over from Baylor, they wanted to go in and handle business, and they did. It was a big win, a big time of the year last year. So considering that was a Big 12 game, considering the other games were in bowl games, those were probably more complete and obviously bigger stages. But this, make no mistake, this was an important victory. It was a complete team win in all phases of the game, and it was really exactly what the doctor ordered, to be honest, especially with all the young guys getting in and showing. Like, this is why we've been saying this, like a Michael Dingle, Amir Washington had some really physical hits and got this close to getting sacked. And I think that would be the only, if I had to say there was a negative, it was like I think they got one sack at the end of the game. But other than that, not a lot of pass rush still. Now, you created 3 turnovers, all the success on third down. I'm not going to quibble, but that's something moving forward, which is what we're talking about, is they're going to have to generate more pass rush to win some of these Big 12 games, I believe. But, yeah, great all-around win. Everybody should just celebrate. Again, cheers. Cheers, Raider Nation, Red Raider Nation. Man, we all needed this. I'm glad I get to talk about a lot of positive things this week. Exactly. The Sigma code. Which of the 12 playoff spots will we get on our way to the national championship? Of course. Bring on Georgia. We want Bama, right? Is that what Texas Tech fans are saying now? No. We do overreact negatively and positively, all of us. It's just natural. I always say college football is a week-to-week proposition. You really never know what's going to happen. The best teams, the elite teams, are pretty consistent, but even they have bad, down games where they just don't have it on a certain day or something's going on. It's important because it showed this outcome, this game, the way it was played, showed what Texas Tech is capable of. That all of us weren't wrong about the talent and the possible ceiling. Now it's North Texas at home. Tech should win that game. So hopefully you can give a lot of these young guys they've gotten some experience, especially on defense, but on both sides of the ball, some confidence, and they'll believe in the scheme, play faster like they did against North Texas, and then we'll see from there, But I don't know about the. I know that was a sarcastic remark, but yeah, I don't think anybody's has any crazy illusions right now. It's more like relief and like, okay, now we can get the season started for real. Tech and Tortilla says, love the point about doing what you were supposed to. Jumping off, appreciate the insight as always, JJ. Hey, thanks for being on, man. I appreciate your comments and for watching the channel. Timbo Ostum says 23-21 wins from RP. Old Raider Power guy. Awesome. Thanks for being on the channel. He says impressed with Dickey. Yeah. Cam Dickey is an impressive dude. He's a Taj Brooks starter kit. He does a lot of the same things. Good size. Taj was about 215 when he came in as a freshman. I think that's about what Dickey's at. So similar body build. He'll add good weight to that frame as he goes forward. Good receiver, good runner between the tackles, has a little bit of a burst, but is not like a high-end speed guy, a good pass blocker for being as young as he is. So he does a lot of the same things that Taj does. And then you have Jacoby Williams, who is a smaller, more explosive back, but he showed some ability in pass blocking as well today. So that was good to see. Kim Coulter says, thanks, JJ. Adios. Adios, Kim. Like I said, I hope the weenies went right. And, man, I hope obviously I hope Texas Tech beats Arizona State for a number of reasons, but for you and your household, save some face there. Randy Mullen says, we got big tight ends and wonder what has happened to them taking advantage of linebackers. Why are they seldom used? Well, like I said, I mean, they're not seldom used. They had a big game today alone. And Conyers had a really big game in the opener. Nobody really had a big game against Washington State. So, but Jalen Conyers had 4 catches for 36 yards and a touchdown. And then John Carlos Miller had 2 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown, including that 45-yard touchdown pass. So those 2 guys were targeted 6 times. They caught 6 passes, and they were a big part, including with Mason Tharp, in the run game. I mean, they're tip of the spear in terms of leading the way, pulling and doing the way they get motion and a lot of the things they do. They're pivotal, and they've been utilized, in my opinion, in a great way so far. I wish Mason Tharp would have turned his head around faster and, seen that pass from Will Hammond, because that might have been a touchdown. But other than that, I thought the tight ends played great, and they're being utilized. Old Texas Tech man said, impressed by Dickey. Will Hammond looked awesome. Yeah. Again, throw Williams in there, throw Jacoby Williams, throw Micah Hudson in there. Some really young guys, looking good, showing that talent. Some other dudes on defense. Macho Stevenson got in there. I think he played well. Marcus Ramon Edwards, the big safety, got in there. Michael Dingle looked really quick. John Curry looks great. That guy's going to be a stud. He already is really a really good player. And then some of the old veterans played really well. Bryce Ramirez got a lot of playing time. I thought he looked great. Made some big tackles. Amir Washington, Isaac Smith. Amir Washington, Isaac Smith both looked pretty good today. They didn't get – I don't think they got – either one of them got home, but they hit the quarterback some, which is an improvement, and set the edge and did a good job. So, yeah, all around good day. Jason Baumgartner says, do I think Hammond overtakes Cam Brown as backup quarterback? He looked good. I think, honestly, if we're being real, I'm knocking on wood, something happened to Barron and he got hurt again, I wouldn't be surprised if Will Hammond was the guy who actually started the next game. I really do. And they would use Cam Brown as in some certain packages as well. I mean, I really think they want to redshirt Hammond. Him playing 4 games, but still redshirt and retain that season eligibility. But if push comes to shove, they got to win some games. I think they go with Will Hammond, and I think we all saw why today. All right, well, I'm not surprised unless there's any more questions or comments. I think I'm going to go ahead and jump off. We normally go about an hour. This is about 30 minutes, but it's always seems to be more talking points when it's a bad day. But hey, it's all right. 30 minutes is a good run. And Texas Tech, speaking of good runs, great performance, 66-21, big win over North Texas, launched to really launch the team into Big 12 play next week, 2:30 p.m. Central Time here at the Jones. Texas Tech will host Arizona State to get Big 12 play going. And, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to the game next week, and that's great. This is, I guess, other than the opener, just ACU going into that game. This is the first time I feel really. I'm excited. I'm intrigued to see what happens next week, and that's a wonderful thing. So, all right. Mike says, enjoy a rare Saturday off. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to hang with my boy. It's going to be great. Exploring the woods. I missed first half. Did Kidley change his calls? Yeah, he didn't throw as many screens. Again, they're going to say it's because of the way the defense played. That's fine. They established the run. They hit RPO and play action off of it. Big play. I mean, Kidley called a great game. Let's tip the cap. Let's call it like it is. Kidley called a great game today. James Campbell says, great content. See you next week. Hopefully it's short next week too. Yes, sir. That's a great comment, Mr. Campbell. Thank y'all for watching. We'll have tons of content leading up to the game, and look for Mighty Joe's Jaeger shots. They may already be on Inside the Red Raiders as I say that. So tons of content coming your way. Oh, Double T Farmer, Stephen Chapman's photo gallery. Be sure to check that out as well. So tons of, yes, there's stuff behind a paywall, but there's tons of free content on Inside the Red Raiders as well. So come check it out. But if nothing else, thanks for watching and being on this channel. Until next week.